guys, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to go through each of my Leopard Gecko tanks, talk you through things I would change, plans I have for them, doing some general maintenance like sorting out the water bottles, replacing batteries, poop and all that fun things, but also just to show that like everyone, even online when you post stuff, sometimes people be like, oh, I really want a tank like that, even though, don't get me wrong, I don't think my tanks are amazing. There is so much I could improve on. I'm always inspired by you guys, especially on my reviewing your setups video. So many people do amazing tanks and there's always room to improve, and I want to show you that on here. Before we begin though, I just want to give a shout out to my merch. So I did launch new merch recently, the Anti-Social Reptile Club. I am waiting for my t-shirt and my notepad to arrive, but if you wanted to check any of that out, as well as my online interactive ebook, then check out leopardgeckomerch.com. So we're going to start off with Gizmo's tank, and I'm going to have to step back a bit from the tanks just because my microphone always gets some weird interference just because the electrics in here, in all of my tanks really. So let's look at the obvious thing that I dislike. When I got this tank for Gizmo, for some reason, I don't know if there's a shortage of glass, but I received acrylic doors instead of glass from Custom Reptile Habitats. This isn't their standard, they usually have glass. I have a feeling just the time of the year or something, there was a reason I got these. They have offered to pay for replacements if I do find glass, but I just never have. I don't generally notice it too much, but on camera you do kind of see it. Now with Gizmo's tank, I actually kind of like the layout. It works well for her. She's actually currently right in this corner, and that's somewhere she hangs around a lot. And then in the evening, sometimes you'll see her here, but I don't know if it's just because she's older, she's more in her ways, but she does stay over there a lot. I do have these fake plants over here. For the most part, if you've seen my other tanks, I do like live plants, bioactive, but I have found that to be quite difficult in arid tanks. But I'll let you know in a moment how I intend to attempt again at a bioactive tank. Now, one thing I will have to do in these tanks is clean the water bowls. So, I've just tipped most of the water out, but if you have a lot of lights, so I have the Luminize LED Jungle Dawn and the Luminize Protein 5, but if you have a load of lights and something like a water bowl that's constantly wet, even when you replace the water every day, it's always damp, you're gonna get algae. So, about once a week, I will give it a thorough clean. And you know what, it looks really bad, but what will happen is it will look normal for ages and then bloom. So what I do is I start off by spraying some disinfectant in it, letting it sit for a bit. Then I get an old toothbrush, which I never actually use this head like to actually clean my teeth. It's a replacement head, and it's, I don't know, it's a fine point, but it works really well. And as you can see, that algae just comes off perfectly. So I do that with the disinfectant on, and then I thoroughly wash it out, and then we replace it. So I will be doing that for each of my geckos today. The day I'm filming is Sunday, so it's just kind of a little Sunday job. And also, this is a more frequent thing, but popping around and picking up their poops is something I'll do, but probably won't show in this video because who needs to see that? Next up we have Minnie's tank. Now this looks quite bare, quite simple, and there is a reason for that. If you didn't know, Minnie's the second eldest, so Gizmo will be 18 this year, Minnie will be 17, and Minnie's always had poor eyesight, so it's very important to keep her tank familiar and simple. However, one big thing is I had to remove this plant because the plant that was here was completely dead. So for now, this is just here, which doesn't look like much, but she'll climb up the background, use this to come along, come here, climb here, and come here every night. Another thing I need to do, this battery is just gone. Luckily in my little drawer of powders and writing down whenever I feed them and all of that, I also have a battery thing. So all those like old feeder insect boxes you can reuse and put all your spares in, so we have batteries for the thermometer. All sorted. The other thing with Minnie's tank is this rocky hide here. This wasn't actually cut out to be a hide, it is hollow so she could get underneath, but what she's done, another dead air plant, there's a little gap down here and she will slither down in into this, so she's probably hiding in there. Oh no, I can see her in the back. So there she is. As you can see, even though this doesn't look particularly big from outside, there's lots of places behind this initial hide where she can hide away. So I'm at Maui's tank now, and what I intend to do, and I'll probably have to do this once we've moved. If you've seen a previous video of mine, I mentioned that we are looking to sell and move and get a bigger reptile bioactive house, reptile room. So I don't really want to do it before then, because some of these tanks will have to be taken apart to move them. So what I intend on doing is having a much deeper substrate layer. I think that helps a lot with planting, and that's when I want to look again at the layout in these tanks and how I... Hi, Mal! Someone's creeping around the corner. I think I'm waking everyone up. I feel so bad. Generally, I wait till the evening to film anything with my leopard geckos, but since the lights are on and everything, I thought I'd do this video. But yes, basically, I want to revamp these tanks once we've moved, because I know from experience when we had to move Diego's tank, I had to take apart like his whole hot hide and everything like that, and adding even more substrate is going to make this even heavier, and once again, we'll probably get ruined. So I want to do it where there's deeper substrate, where the cleanup crew will likely survive in, and lots more plants, because I've seen some of your guys' tanks with all different kinds of plants growing around, and I think that'll be amazing. So unfortunately, things are on hold at the moment, so we do have to just stick with what we've got. Now in Maui's tank, we do have this grass that is almost definitely dead, but it kind of looks alive in terms of like the kind of grasses they might be around, but it's in a pot. I couldn't grow it in the ground. One thing I've done in a few of the tanks is put in like a big branch. As long as it's wide enough, the geckos will climb it. It's another route to get to his optimal sort of basking area. Being that this is a 2-foot high tank, you need about 10 to 12 inches between the light and the heater to get that ideal area. So this is like optimum area, and leopard geckos love to climb. He'll climb along here, even up here, and along here, and up here. So that's really good. Now the hide I use in here and in Diego's tank, they're actually the Zen habitat hides. And that's just because I have to build up this area so much. And finally, we have Diego's tank, which is the only tank with an actual live plant in it. But I will say the aloe, it's looking a bit better. I actually took it out yesterday and soaked it. You know, if you fill up your sink and put the plug in and then put the pot in there just so it could get a good watering, because although I do water it in here, it was closing up and it still kind of is a bit. So I didn't know if it just needed a good water and maybe repotting really. But I do like that actually has grown really well and grown really fast. Like, it was very small when I put it in, it's done really well. So more of this energy for future tanks. Also this little, I think it's something torch this is. This works well for them to climb on, but if you have locusts or crickets, anything like that, they do like to hide in that, so that can be a bit of a pain. Now here's the other Zen Habitats hide, and that really helps get that size up. If you were to choose between an 18 or 24 inch tall tank, I'd probably say 18 inches just because it's so much easier to achieve that optimal basking area without having to build up so much. But with Maui and Diego, it's not an issue. They can easily climb up there. Once again, Diego can climb up there, and he can also go all along here, which I have seen him do. I don't really know where he goes in the daytime, whether he's in here, behind the back of that, in there. There's lots of different areas here, and that's something I want to do more of in future tanks, where, you know, it looks a little bit cluttered, but it's opportunities to hide. There are also still a few fake plants in here just to add a burst of colour. I'm honestly not against fake plants if they look quite real, and these ones came from custom reptile habitats and they're actually very good. And also just because not everyone can or wants to grow live plants, and as I said, I found it very difficult in an arid tank. So definitely maybe a few months down the line, when we eventually find a place and sell our place and move, that will be a big project which I'll try to document for you guys. You can see. Anyway, I hope this video has been somewhat interesting. If you have any tips for me, any ideas that you think will be really awesome in these tanks, let me know below. As I said, it's going to take a while before we get to that point, but I just wanted to show you some of my future plans. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and goodbye.